Hi there, this is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, and welcome to an episode of Filmstock. Today I was going to talk about cardboard boxes and how most of us who collect physical media are fans of cardboard boxes. And I was just going to go through some of my favourite cardboard boxes and why. Now obviously those who perhaps don't appreciate our love of cardboard boxes sometimes question, do you actually like the cardboard box more than the actual film? Which of course for me is complete nonsense. The film is the most important thing, and then the extras, and then the cardboard box. However, sometimes if it's a film that you love that you already have and another cardboard box comes out, sometimes you are tempted to buy that. But why is that? Well, cinema is a visual medium, and to get a lovely package is something visual that can perhaps not be too abysmal, that gives you an idea of what's contained. You know, very much like in the olden days of going to the record store. Sometimes an album cover would pique your interest enough to want to buy that record and take it home, because obviously you couldn't just look at your phone and download a clip to see what that song sounded like or that band sounded like, that you can do nowadays. So I mean, personally for me, I do have a lot of blind buys, which some people just don't do, but for me the next film that I buy could turn into one of my favourite films of all time. Even though I do blind buys, they're perhaps just one-eye blind buys, in the sense that if it's a director I recognise or know, then you've got an inkling of what that's going to be like. So sometimes they're not completely blind buys. You know, if it's a Czechoslovakian pohodky, you know it's going to be a certain thing. You know, if it's a 60s Japanese Yakuza film, you know it's going to be a certain quality. If it's a Sonny Chiba actioner, you know it's going to be a certain quality. So I'm just going to go through some of my favourite cardboard boxes. Also, I'm not going to go through all my favourite cardboard boxes, because everything is a favourite cardboard box in some sense. Now obviously one of the more famous cardboard boxes is, of course, when they're not made of cardboard, they're perhaps made of tin or even pure steel. Now obviously I've shown this one before. This is the Mondo Steelbook of the Jungle Book, with the star of the Jungle Book, Shere Khan, on the front. Even though you can actually see there is a tiny little Mowgli, ironically, in Shere Khan's stomach, where he should have been at the end of the film. Again on the back. I mean, it's just a beautiful piece of tin, and just in case you needed reminded who the Star Wars was, not Star Wars, Shere Khan's on the disc as well. Again, it's a lovely bit of pure 100% steel. And Shere Khan is actually the jungle, and the jungle is Shere Khan. Now, one of my other favourite bits of steel, pure steel, is Zardos, John Boorman's absolutely barking science fiction film. Look at that cover, and you also get Sean Connery in his red nappy at the back. In the inside is a booklet. So obviously for those who stream only, you won't know what any of this is, but this is quality. That's what it is. Another Mondo, one of my favourite films of all time, Flash Gordon. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. Simple on the back, gorgeous and complex, just like the film. Again, a stunning indictment of Ming's fascist regime. Ming dominates the inside of the steelbook the same way he dominates inside of Mongol society. So that's another absolute beauty. A couple of Criterions. The Criterion DVD of Videodrome, Cronenberg's masterful work, and again, look, it looks like it's actually a videotape. Now sometimes Criterion's packaging can be a little bit lackluster, but this is pretty fantastic to make the Videodrome release into an actual videotape. I have actually tried to force this tape into my stomach, but nothing happened apart from feeling fairly unwell for a couple of days. But that's the beautiful edition of Videodrome by Criterion. Another wonderful Criterion piece of cardboard is Lone Wolf and Cub set, which actually comes with a little diagram of the cart in the inside of the box. Again, booklets. We all love a booklet that most of us never read, and of course the discs with the films, which again, the films are the most important piece of the puzzle. But again, it's the whole package, very much like a film, cinematography, acting, storytelling, music, it's all part of the package. So here's Decalogue, Shizlovsky's masterful kind of Ten Commandment themed show. Again, this cover is simple, but we have 10 blocks. Blocks become the tower blocks. It's almost a cross because there's a lot of religious imagery, and of course it's the Ten Commandments, but it's slightly off kilter because it is not a true retelling of the Ten Commandments. And again, it's reiterated but in a different configuration, very much like all the flats in the housing blocks, the discs, 2 in each side, like an Old and New Testament. Again, the repeated patterns, but different, all in sizes of 10. Another booklet that's absolutely wonderful. This is just one of the greatest things ever made, and it's a simple but effective job of packaging. A few little eurekas. Now, I had this film already in a Sonny Chiba set by Shout Factory, but Eureka released Samurai Reincarnation, just this beautiful artwork, again simple background, but just a beautifully complex, entwined cover painting here, because the film itself is a combination of present and past intertwined. It's just an absolutely beautiful cover, and there's the standard, which, let's be honest, is not as striking in its simplicity, but yet its complexity as that. It's just such a striking piece of cardboard. Now, colour is very important unless you're colourblind. So how about the Mothra set that Eureka released? Some people would call it lurid, but other people would just call it absolutely beautiful and fitting of such a legend as Mothra. Again, in some packages we get the poster that we never actually open or put up. Well, we do open, but generally never put up. One day we'll have a room where we put all our posters up. Again, another colourful, striking booklet, just absolutely tremendous. And again, for a legend like Mothra, it's so worth getting this beautifully colourful. I should actually flip that cover in actual fact. I like to flip the cover so it's different than the outer bit of cardboard. But you're not just getting like soft cardboard here, you're getting that lovely sound of victory. But just a beautiful addition for Mothra, which is an essential if you're into insect films. Again, this came out earlier than Mothra. It was Johnny Guitar by Nicholas Ray, and a really wonderful yellow. The film itself is obviously in Orgasmo Technicolor, and as is this piece of hard cardboard that they've used for Johnny Guitar. And again, the booklet echoes that lurid, blazing yellow, pages of blue. It's just a smorgasbord of intensity and hyperbole, and you don't get more hyperbolic than pure gold and pure yellow. Back to steelbooks and the Reservoir Dogs 4K. Again, you can have fun with covers of your cardboard boxes, in this case a steel box. If you notice closely, the ear goes up and down. I mean, what more entertainment do you need than watching an ear go up and down on a box? But again, you get lovely artwork. This is the Coraline Shout Factory, Scream Factory steelbook with a 4K. And again, this is where steelbooks, people might say, yes, they're just bits of unadulterated steel, but they are rather lovely as well. Again, if you stream only, then fine. These Arrow slip covers that are almost like velvet, you can almost touch Vin Diesel's velvety back. These are quite beautiful for lovers of cardboard. They're very tactile, and again, you want to immerse yourself in the film that you're watching, and you can immerse yourself in the slipcover. Again, you know, there perhaps are companies like perhaps Vinegar Syndrome, where sometimes the film is is under the shadow of the actual slipcover. Obviously not in this case. Pitch Black, wonderful little film, and obviously they've done a whole series of these velvet to the touch slipcovers. Obviously you can have lenticulars to have your true experience. So here's one of my favourite lenticulars is for Dread. This is a Dread steelbook, and look at that lenticular. It's absolutely beautiful. Just a flat back. I mean, there's lenticular steelbooks that you get that have lenticulars on both sides, and you also get the film. This is from Nova Media. That's one of my favourite lenticulars for Dread. if you want to just sit and watch the lenticular while you're watching the film, it's even better. Now, the Vinegar Syndrome, as I've said before, I'm not really big into Vinegar Syndrome, but I'm certainly addicted to some of the Vinegar Syndrome sister labels, especially Deaf Crocodile. And here's the Pied Piper, which is just a beautiful animated film. And again, the slipcover on this is absolutely beautiful. Again, I'd never seen it before. Yes, I was going to buy it because it's Deaf Crocodile, but would you not be intrigued by looking at that? I mean, that's pretty much a metal album from, well, I was going to say the 80s, but pretty much every decade. Just absolutely beautiful. Obviously a filmmaker that I've featured quite a lot, Alexander Pushko, and again Deaf Crocodile with their slip covers for The Tale of Tsar Saltan. I mean, that is intriguing and beautiful, just like the film. I mean, the film is absolutely stunning, and I'd highly recommend them. Now, obviously, box sets. We all like a good box set, and probably not many companies do better box sets than Indicator. And for me, when you think of Indicator box sets, the Bud Bedecker, I mean, again, look at the colours, the simplicity. There's Randolph Scott after he won the lottery, celebrating, the golden sand behind him, little people on horses. That's actual size. Randolph Scott was that big. Again, colour on the top as well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful box. Now, obviously, Criterion just released these films on 4K in a box set, but the box set is nowhere near as gorgeous as that one. Now, one of their first box sets that set the world on fire. Their Sinbad box set. I mean, look at that artwork. You don't get that from streaming. And a lovely big Sinbad in the spine. Just absolutely beautiful. I mean, you could literally just sit and stare at that for days, especially if you're on certain medication. And then, you know, you could argue, yes, sometimes the packaging does outweigh the films, but because it's Indicator, it doesn't count. The Fu Manchu set, now, I mean, it's a wonderful colour, that kind of burnt orange, and as you can see, characters are in Fu Manchu's face, because Fu Manchu actually makes up the world, and we are all just living in Fu Manchu's world. He is slightly confused, and probably has a little bit of a bloated idea of his own worth. And you could be cynical and say this box set design is actually better than the films. Certainly two of the films are decent, and the other three perhaps not. But again, the extras, which always form part of a good release, almost make up for it. But great cover. Another steelbook, another nice release. Again, lots of companies in Korea that do limited edition special releases. Fortunately, they do tend to do kind of more mainstream films just as well. They don't do classic films, or perhaps I might go a little bit more crazy. But this is a lovely release of Zootropolis. You sometimes get credit cards as well, where you can buy Pixar. And again, this is another lenticular. The fox doesn't know where the rabbit went, because he's probably eaten her. And on the back, and again, you get all manner of goodies in here. You get cards, you get a little Zootropolis Police Department badge, all manner of fun activities for all the family. So you can pretty much throw as much in as you could want. This one also has a booklet with lovely images from the film as well. So even if you're not watching the film, you can immerse yourself in the world of the film. Again, we're tactile creatures, we're visual creatures, and nothing I suppose is more tactile than these Curzon box sets. This is the 4Ks of Kieślowski's Colours trilogy. Again, it feels almost like a book. It also feels like a carpet. If you've ever rubbed your face on a very hard carpet, that's what it kind of feels like. So you're being fooled into thinking this is a quality release. You can just feel it. Wonderful. So not only do you get one cardboard box, you get 2 cardboard boxes, and then the discs are in there. I'm not going to take them all out because they might all fall out. But it's solid, it's tactile. As I said, you can rub your face in it to get you closer to Kieślowski's great work. I mean, sometimes I'll put it under my pillow at night and just sleep with the 3 Colours trilogy. I would highly recommend doing that. And then again, this is another big massive thing of the gangster, the cop and the devil, which is a fun Korean film. I'm actually surprised it hasn't been remade yet. Again, this has another kind of tactile cover, and you just happen to get the storyboard as well as the film. But that's a lovely addition as well. Second Sight do a really good job with their big hardy editions. I think I showed this in my 4K video, but listen to that book. You don't need to read it, all you need to do is chap it. So much reading in it, and it is a wonderful book. And you also get the film in 4K as well. You don't just get the book. I mean, obviously their Picnic at Hanging Rock almost took it to the nth degree. But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, again, red, white, with the black leather face. It's primal, like the film. You know, it could be 3 million years old, like the film, like the ideas in the film, just the primalness of human nature, tactile, nasty and cannibalistic. Sometimes, you know, the antithesis of streaming is actually just to hold something in your hand that means so much and is important. I recently looked at an article that somebody had written about the 100 greatest directors of all time. Renoir was number 1, but this director, very much like the Sight and Sound list, wasn't included, which is kind of baffling. But here's the Arrow Academy of the Human Condition. Just to hold this, just to know what this is, how it changes everybody who watches it. And again, not to knock streaming, because streaming has its uses, but you can't hold the human condition in your hand if you stream. And there's a feeling you get when you hold the human condition in your hand. Again, same with Kobayashi's Kwaidan. Again, red, black, white, primal, blood. Just an absolutely beautiful release. Again, I think I've said it before, but I remember getting this on Blu-ray, I had it on DVD, and I just wanted to check out the print, and 3 hours later I'd watched the film. It's just that good. Now obviously some pieces of cardboard go for lots of money on secondary markets, but then at some point they actually lose their value because they've been usurped by something else, and that's the case for the Hellraiser 1, 2 and 3 Scarlet Box by Arrow, which for a while was a holy grail item, and of course the 4K box sets with Pinhead on the cover and the Chatterer on the cover are coming out in a couple of weeks by Arrow, which of course I've pre-ordered. But the Scarlet Box is absolutely beautiful. It's a really unique design. Strange enough, it has the discs, but it also just has beautiful artwork on the discs. I mean, look at that mouth. Only a mother could love that. Just wonderful artwork. There is another beautiful book. Yep, you know the sound. Again, just absolutely beautiful. The Hellraiser series does have a wonderful documentary, Leviathan, and you also get a poster and art cards as well, and you also get a lovely message, "I am in hell, help me," which I think is something we can all identify with. But it's an example of a set that eventually it gets an upgrade and it gets usurped. But the Scarlet Box is a wonderful reminder of our own humanity. Again, I've got these films a couple of times in Blu-ray, and I've now got some of them on 4K, but I still won't get rid of these steelbooks. These are the Universal Monsters, Alex Ross artwork. I mean, these are beautiful, of beautiful films. That's The Bride of Frankenstein, obviously, and one of my favourites, The Wolfman. Again, the artwork in these are absolutely beautiful. Again, another lenticular. This is Lenny Abrahamson's just wonderful Frank with a lovely lenticular. And there's Frank's most charming song ever, Coca-Cola Lipstick Ringo, Dance All Night, Dance All Night. Arguably Michael Fassbender's finest work. I just thought I'd mention a television show. This is the Batman animated. Again, red and black. Again, it's primal, because we're blood in the darkness. That's all we are, blood in the darkness. And again, it has that there's characters there, but in the dark, because they're villains. And again, inside, it's emblazed with colour. In the discs, you get episode guides. So on the inside there's colour, and the outside is just blood and darkness. Again, back to Arrow in the Tsukamoto set. Really underrated director, and yes, he wasn't in this 100 director list that I recently saw. But again, red sums up his cinema. There's half of his face as a human and half of his face not as a human. All these films are magnificent. And again, if you were blind buying that, surely that would pique your interest. Then obviously we get to ridiculous standards. This is the plain archive release of Jim Jarmusch's charming Little Patterson. This is the Steelbook edition. You get a pen and pencil. There's a book to write your poetry in. It's a phenomenal release. I did go through a period of buying lots of plain archives. But again, fortunately, they don't do a lot of films that I would actually want to buy. But now, obviously, I'm being sensible. Another Arrow one. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Damaging set. 3 wonderfully enjoyable kaiju films. This is more of the Severin kind of Vinegar Syndrome type boxes. There's a disc, a lovely big booklet with the mythology and the folklore of the Damaging character. This is just an absolutely beautiful set. I mean, look at the colours. And again, not to knock streaming, but you can't hold Damaging in your hands if you're streaming. Now again, I'm not the brightest bulb in the batch, but I did show off these French kind of media books of Kurosawa films in Blu-ray. Some that I don't have in Blu-ray now. There's no English subtitles, but I know a smattering of French, but not obviously enough to keep up. But there's also beautiful images, and for any Kurosawa fan, they're absolutely beautiful. There's a whole bunch of them. That's the Lower Depths, and also that's I Live in Fear. Just beautiful sets, and again they're like books because Kurosawa's almost like literature. Here's an odd Italian release of Paul Schrader's American Gigolo. Again, lovely. There's that red. There's Richard Gere. No hamsters present. Richard Gere and Lauren Hutton. And again with discs and various goodies. So sometimes in secondary markets you do kind of find these odd little editions, but that's a lovely edition of one of Schrader's many versions of Pickpocket. Now these are a couple of fun little editions of the first 2 Aliens. Again, nice little embossed box. It's a standard Blu-ray, but you do get a lovely little set of pictures, because this time it is war. So that's just a lovely little piece. I don't know how many times I have Alien and Aliens. Again, a lovely embossing for Alien. Don't worry, I've only got 500 left. This is another Arrow release. This is one of my favourites, Society. I mean, again, it's embossed. It's almost as if you're touching flesh, you know, getting the thrill of the shunt. It does go in the top as well, and the bottom. It's just a wonderful edition. Again, tactile. You literally are sinking your fingers into the flesh. And again, lovely big thick book. It's almost like touching Screaming Mad George himself. And again, I've shown this off hundreds of times, but we're going to do it again. The Bud Blue edition of Bittersweet Life again. So beautiful to touch. So beautiful to look at. Again, you get the scenario book. And you even get the film, which is just an absolutely gorgeous film, and it's a gorgeous release. That's Bittersweet Life by Bud Blue. And again, with these releases, if you don't actually like the film, you can use them as doorstops. This is a DVD set, but I do like it. It's the Blind Dead collection. This is Anchor Bay, who certainly are one of the more influential kind of home video companies, because they released a lot on VHS and then DVD. Seminal titles, and obviously you can see you get Tombs of the Blind Dead, which you can now get on a special 4K edition for probably about 150 quid. Return of the Evil Dead, The Ghost Galleon, Night of the Seagulls, which is wonderful, and a little documentary about the director Armando de Osorio. So that's a lovely little DVD set. I do have 3 volumes of a German DVD set of Russ Meyer, but I can't show that. That's the thing about Russ Meyer, he's got his knockers, and obviously I couldn't do a video like this without showing a version of Das Ding. And this is a German company that did 2 of these, and of course I accidentally bought both. Just beautiful artwork. There's Childs in the background as well. And in this one you get like a badge for Outpost 31. You get some art, some cards. Bizarrely, I've got a steelbook of that design, and ironically I've got a media book of that design. And there's a funny Wish You Were Here, because it's ironic, because you wouldn't actually want to be there. There's posters, but you do also get the film, don't worry. You actually get the film and the 2011 prequel, which was actually quite handy because I didn't actually have the 2011 prequel at that time. Obviously I have 2 copies of it now, but it's just beautiful hand painted artwork of Das Ding. So that's just a little overview and discussion about some of my favourite bits of cardboard, tin and steel. Obviously you do get wooden boxes as well. So please let me know in the comments, are we all weirdos for touching covers and sniffing booklets, or are we justified? I mean, as I was saying to somebody in my mind earlier, some people collect running shoes, or trainers as we used to call them. So really collecting films that just happen to be wrapped in lovely yellow cardboard boxes with pink letters on the front, it's not that strange or odd, really, is it? Is it? On that bombshell, thanks very much for watching this episode of Filmstock. This is Soldier Run from Soldier Run Films, saying thank you and farewell.